everybody, and welcome to my 2021-22 League One predictions. The season kicks off this week and I am absolutely buzzing, man. I cannot wait. Fans are back in stadiums. Football is finally back to normality. Now, as ever, with these prediction videos, this is solely my opinion. If you think I've positioned your team in the complete wrong place, then please feel free to let me know in the comments below where you think your team is going to finish. And give me your predictions in the comments as well. Who do you think is going to get relegated? Who do you think is going to get promoted? So, as ever, with these videos, we will kick things off with the bottom of the table and work our way up. Coming in 24th place, bottom of the league, I have gone with newly promoted Cambridge United. While they have done some okay business in terms of players coming in, I think what has done it for me is the departure of Paul Mullin. Of course, 32 goals scored last season. That is a massive hole to fill in their team now. They've signed Sam Smith from Reading, who, if you take a look at his statistics, hasn't really done an awful lot for a striker, which, you know, it's not very convincing. And they have also lost their highly rated right-back Kyle Noyle, who was also in the PFA Team of the Year last year. He's made the move to Doncaster. They have replaced him, though, with George Williams, formerly of Bristol Rovers and MK Dons. So he is obviously League One experienced and could offer them something. But they have kept some good players on their books from last season. Joe Ironside, he scored 14 goals for them last season. And Wes Hoolahan as well, who obviously will offer a massive amount of experience to their side. But he's not getting any younger. He's 39 years old now. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can do anything in League One this year. Paul Digby as well, decent midfielder. Personally, I just don't think they've done enough this season, and I think that they will be heading straight back down. And the same can also be said for Morecambe, who I have gone to finish in 23rd place. Another newly promoted side. Their new manager, Stephen Robinson, I don't really know all too much about him, so I'm going to hold off judgment because I just don't really know much about him. Morecambe have made the most amount of signings in the transfer window so far, with Jonathan Obika coming in from St Mirren and Jonah Ayunga coming in from Bristol Rovers, but he only bagged 2 goals last season, as well as Cole Stockton, who they've done really well to keep hold of, by the way. He's just come off the back of his best ever goal scoring season with 13 goals. The biggest departure of the lot is, of course, Carlos Mendes Gomez. He's completed his move to Luton Town. I think it was going to be an absolute miracle if they were to keep hold of him, but now they've lost him. He's going to be difficult to replace, and I think that it was always going to be a difficult challenge for Morecambe this year to stay up, and I think that's become even more challenging with obviously a new manager coming in and practically a whole new squad. I just think that it's going to be that one step too far for Morecambe, and I think that they will be going straight back down. In 22nd place, I have gone with AFC Wimbledon. Now, every single season, Wimbledon are in the thick of a relegation battle in League One. They are always tipped to go down, and they never do. I truly believe it's going to be too much for them, and I think that this is the year that Wimbledon do go down. The loss of Joe Pigott is absolutely massive for them. He's just come off the back of his best ever goal scoring season with 20 goals last season. He, of course, has completed the move to Ipswich Town. Not to mention they've also lost their second top scorer, Ryan Longman, who, of course, was on loan from Brighton last year. He's just made the move to Hull City in the Championship. He got 8 goals and 2 assists, I think it was, last season. He done really well. So they've lost 2 of their biggest attacking threats. They've brought in this guy called Aaron Presley from Brentford, who, of course, will be looking to replicate what Marcus Forss did a few years ago. Luke McCormick on a free from Chelsea. I really like that signing. I think it's a really good deal. He scored 6 goals and got 2 assists for Bristol Rovers last year. Was one of their standout performers. And they do still have some decent players on their books. You know, Ethan Chislett's all right. That Assal, the young player that's coming through their ranks, the attacker, I think he's supposed to be pretty decent, so I'll be keeping an eye on him. But yeah, for me, I just don't think Wimbledon have got enough room. And finishing off the bottom 4, coming in 21st place. This is one of the more controversial ones in this video, and it will come as a surprise to you guys. But I've gone with Fleetwood. It is certainly a bold shout putting these guys to go down, but I honestly just don't think they have enough. The midfield is very solid. You know, they've still got some decent players in there. Dan Batty, Jordan Rossiter, Callum Camp's their top scorer last year, who will obviously be their main source of goals and main source of energy in the middle of that park. He's a very solid League One player. With Max Clark coming in from Hull, I think he could be decent. Tom Clark coming in from Salford, who offers some experience in the back line. Ryan Edmondson on loan from Leeds, and Callum Morton from West Brom. Morton has been rated very highly by a lot of League One fans. He only scored 2 goals in 18 appearances for Lincoln last season, although I do believe he had trouble with injury, so I'm not entirely sure about that one. But he could be decent if he can hit the ground running. But for me, I think Fleetwood are relying a lot on unproven youngsters, and they don't really have a recognised scorer within that side. You know, Paddy Madden's no longer there, Ched Evans isn't there, Wes Burns is gone as well. Could well go down to the final few weeks, but I think with that squad And with a manager like Grayson, who seems to have lost his pedigree in this league now, and to be honest with you, I fully expect him to be sacked by the new year. It's going to be close, but I think the Cods are going to be going down. Moving on to the rest of the bottom half of the table from 20th to 13th. In 20th place, I have gone with newly promoted Cheltenham Town, the League Two champions from last season. They've signed only 2 players so far. Elliot Bonds coming in from Hull on loan, and Owen Evans joining on a permanent transfer from Wigan Athletic. They seem to have kept the confidence within the team that got them promoted to this league. And I think that there are some decent players within their squad. You know, you've got Alfie May, he scored 13 goals in League Two last season. Then you've got a bit of experience in there as well, Matty Blair and Liam Sercombe. And then I think that back three that they like to play of Will Boyle, Charlie Raglan and Ben Tozer will be pivotal to their play style this season. And they've kept the core of their squad. And I think that it is going to be close. It will go down to the final day. But I think Cheltenham are going to stay up. Coming in 19th place, I've gone with Burton Albion. The job that Hasselbank did last year cannot go unnoticed whatsoever. They were absolutely doomed by the new year. He came in, signed a ridiculous amount of players in January, and they ended up surviving rather convincingly in the end in 16th place. Dejosh Elijah coming in from Charlton. I think he'll do really well for them. Obviously a very good solid League One defender, and I think he'll do really well for them. Then you've got Omari Patrick coming in from Carlisle. You know, he got 5 goals, 2 assists for them last season. He's obviously coming in as another attacking option. Ellery Balcombe, goalkeeper, coming in from Brentford. Obviously spent the second half of last season with Doncaster. Jacob Maddox is another one I want to keep an eye on. Obviously coming in on loan from Vitória Guimarães in Portugal. I think it could go one of 2 ways with Burton. I think Hasselbank could have a stroke of genius and they fly up the table, or they just steady out again and they just end up fighting in a relegation battle, but they do enough to survive. And to be honest, that's where I see it. I think attackingly, other than Kane Hemmings, they've not really got an awful lot. In 18th place, I've gone with Steve Evans' Gillingham, which is obviously quite the drop from last season. So they are under a transfer embargo at the moment, which obviously is hindering their transfer business a little bit. And they have lost a lot of key players in the window this season. Jordan Graham being the main one. He's, of course, gone to Birmingham. Jack Bonham, their goalkeeper, has gone to Stoke. Connor Ogilvie, their left back, I believe, is on the verge of making a move to Portsmouth. He, again, was a fantastic player for them last year and a very good League One player. He'll be certainly a miss. In terms of the signings that they have made, they've brought in Ollie Lee on a permanent transfer. He's obviously been there for a number of years now on loan. Then you have Max Ema and David Tatunda coming in from Bristol Rovers. They do still have some decent players on their books. You know, Dame Oliver done really well last year. 17 goals and 6 assists, done really, really well. Jack Tucker, their highly rated centre-back, is also still there, but I do expect him to be making a move very, very soon. Maybe by the end of the window, I do expect late interest in him. But yeah, Gillingham for me, I think the embargo has done them no favours. I just think that the players that they have lost and partnered with the players that they've brought in to replace these key players, I think it's going to be a difficult season for Gillingham this time round. I don't think they'll go down, but I think that they are going to be in for a strugglesome campaign. In 17th place, I've gone with Plymouth Argyle, which is funnily enough where I actually predicted them to finish last season. They had the second worst defensive record in the league. I think they conceded like 82 goals, which was absolutely ridiculous. And they seem to have gone through a rebuilding phase. Their transfer strategy has certainly been defensive, trying to tighten up that defensive line. Their entire back three is now gone, and they've replaced that with James Wilson coming in from Ipswich, who obviously will offer a lot of experience to their side. Dan Scarr coming up from Walsall. I think he is actually a very good League Two defender for Walsall over the last few years, and I think he will do a job. Macaulay Gillespie coming over from Brisbane Roar after a stint in Australia. He's formerly of Carlisle United. Some other players in there. James Bolton, I think he can play midfield, but can also play right back, coming in from Portsmouth. But attackingly, they did have some very good talents. Luke Jepcott obviously being the standout one. He scored 16 goals last season. There has been a rumour going about the place recently that apparently Luke Jepcott has been subject to a £600,000 bid from Charlton Athletic. I'm not entirely sure how true that rumour is, but if that is true and Plymouth do end up losing him, it's a massive hole to fill for them. But at this point in time, I can't really see them doing much better than what they did last season, to be honest. 16th place, I've gone with Crewe Alexandra. Now, these guys, once again, like last year, haven't really signed an awful amount of players. Kane Ramsey coming in from Southampton, right back on loan for the season. He'll probably be Perry Ing's replacement. Chris Long coming in from Motherwell. He only scored 4 goals last season, but is another option in the attacking third. Tommy Hoban as well coming in from Aberdeen. Biggest loss for them is Ryan Wintle. He, of course, has gone to Cardiff City. A big loss in the middle of the park for them now. Tom Lavery, Charlie Kirk, Owen Dale and Michael Mandron, all of which are still there. I think they have got a solid enough squad to stay in this division. I think that they will go on a bit of a decline this season compared to the last. They finished 12th last year, but I think that they will go down a couple of places. And then in 15th, I've gone with Accrington Stanley, the team that everybody seems to predict to go down every single season. And every year, John Coleman's men just defy the odds every single season. And although it would be bloody typical that the one season that I actually predict Accrington to stay up, they actually end up going down. And I hope I haven't jinxed them there. But yeah, Accrington, I think that they just defy the odds every single season. And the job that John Coleman is doing is absolutely fantastic. And he really is solidifying them as a solid League One club. And like last season, they have adopted a very similar transfer strategy in that they are bringing in a lot of youngsters from the Premier League. Joel Mbongo coming in from Burnley on loan for the season. He obviously played 4 times in the Premier League last year, so he could be an interesting player to look out for. James Trafford has come in from Man City as an option in between the sticks, replacing Nathan Baxter. They do still have their big name players, Dion Charles, Colby Bishop and Joe Pritchard. All of them were absolutely phenomenal last season. Charles, 19 goals. Bishop got 11 and Pritchard was obviously a superb player to have in behind them. I do think they will have a bit of a dip this year. I think they will fall down a couple of places, but still, John Coleman will do more than enough to keep them in this division. 14th place, I have gone with the 4th and final League 2 side, and in my opinion, the best performing League 2 side for this season, and that is Bolton Wanderers. They have kept the core of their team. You know, the likes of Owen Doyle is still there, 19 goals for them last season. Then you've also got Nathan Delfonso, Ricardo Santos. Their midfield is absolutely stacked. You know, Ali Crawford, Anthony Sarcevic, Dennis Politic, who could have a very good season this year. Kieran Lee as well. They've added to it as well. They've brought in Dapo Afolayan and Declan John on permanent transfers. George Johnston coming in from Feyenoord on a permanent, I think is a great buy. I think he done really, really well for Wigan in the second half of last season. He'll definitely offer some very, very good defensive cover. Josh Sheehan coming in from Newport. Bakayoko as well from Coventry to offer a bit more attacking threat going forward. Ian Evatt has done a fantastic job at Bolton over the last year. He really has done well to revolutionise that side and get them into this division back where they belong. You know, well, I say back where they belong, they're back on the rise to getting to where they belong. I think this season though, I think it's going to take time. I think they're going to adjust to League One football relatively well. They'll finish mid-table. And then closing off the bottom half of the table, coming in 13th place, I have gone with a side that I think has been slightly underestimated this season, and I think that they can definitely do a lot better than what people were predicting, and that is Shrewsbury Town. And this season, they really have signed some very, very good players for this level. Luke Leahy being the first one, of course, coming in from Bristol Rovers, a very, very good attacking wingback. Matthew Pennington has come in from Everton on a permanent transfer. He spent last season on loan with them, and I think he did really, really well for them. So he, again, will offer some good defensive cover. Ryan Bowman, obviously coming in from Exeter City. The last 2 seasons, he's grabbed 28 goals in League 2. Elliot Bennett offers them some experience. I think that's a great signing from Blackburn. Marco Morosi in goal, obviously has been here and done it in League 1. Obviously got the playoffs with Doncaster and won the league with Coventry. Attackingly, they could do with some more presence up top. You know, you've got Bowman, but then you've also got Urdo, who did okay last season, and there's a few other options in there, but I think that they could do with another attacking option. I think midfield, they could do with a few bodies in there as well. Defensively, I think they're going to be decent this year. You know, that back 5, as I say, they like to play. I think they could definitely be on for a decent season this year. I don't think they'll be anywhere near relegation. They shouldn't be with the players that they have brought in. And now we move on to the top half of the table. Coming in 12th place, I have gone with Doncaster Rovers. A lot of people have predicted Doncaster to have a bit of a stinker this year. They've predicted them to finish quite low down in the league this season. Personally, I can't see them doing that badly because I do genuinely believe that they have recruited very, very well. The players they have signed have been some really, really exciting signings. Carl Noy, obviously, as we mentioned earlier, from Cambridge. I think he'll be a very good signing for them, adding some more defensive cover. Roshawn Williams as well, I think, will really add a lot of physicality and a bit of youth as well. He's only 22 into their defensive side. Ben Close coming in from Portsmouth. There's been a lot of hype about the Watford youngster that they've signed, Thiago Churka, I think his name is, or Kuka, I don't know how you say his name, but there's been a lot of hype from the Watford fans saying that they've done really, really well to sign him on loans. But they ended last season so badly. Like, it was an awful, awful end to the season, you know. At the start of the season, they looked like they were going to go up, you know. They looked like they were the better team in the division that year. But the second half of the season under Andy Butler, they just completely collapsed. And a lot of that squad is still there. So it is up to Wellens to get the best out of that team. And I think that if he can get the best out of them, I think that they could do okay this year. I don't think they'll make a challenge for top 6 yet, but I think that they will be steady in mid-table. In 11th place, I've gone with newly relegated Wycombe Wanderers. Now, I'll be completely honest with this one. I won't be at all surprised if I do end up getting this wrong. But of course, the season that they have just had, in the Championship, I think that they can be very proud. They have got a very good manager in Gareth Ainsworth, and they still have some good players on their books. Curtis Thompson, Anthony Stewart, Scott Cashkit, Uche Ikpeazu and Fred Onidimia have both gone to Middlesbrough and Luton Town respectively, and I think that they are going to be quite the loss for them. They have actually recently just signed Sam Vokes from Stoke City. I don't actually think he scored that many goals, if any, for Stoke last season, so it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. Obviously adding a bit more firepower to the likes of Alex Samuel and Adebayo Akinfenwa, who I don't think would have been enough, nowhere near enough. Josh Scowen, Ainsworth could get the best out of him, but I'm not entirely convinced by him with his time at Sunderland. Sulai Kaikai, I think, is a really, really good buy. He has just come off the back of his best ever season at League One level, 7 goals and 8 assists. He, of course, made the move over from Blackpool on a free. And I just think that their attacking options, Vokes, Samuel and Akinfenwa, there's a lot of question marks about that. I know Vokes is a good striker, or was a good striker, but you have to raise question marks. Has he still got it? And can he deliver the goods at League One level? It is to be seen. But for me, yeah, I won't be surprised if I get this wrong. I'll hold my hands up if I am wrong with this one. But for me, I think at this point, I just think Wickham, I don't think they're going to be in the top 6 race. In 10th place, we have Milton Keynes Dons. Russell Martin, their manager, has made the move to Swansea City to take over from Steve Cooper. And it's not only Martin that's gone, it's their entire managerial setup. And right before the season starts, the week of the season beginning, this could not come at a worse time. Scott Twine, that is just an absolutely unbelievable signing for Swindon Town. 6 goals and 7 assists for Newport in the first half of the season in League 2 last year, and 7 goals and 3 assists for Swindon when he was recalled in the second half of the season. Honestly, this guy has got potential, and the fact that the MK Dons have managed to get him after there was a lot of interest from a lot of top-level League 1 clubs, I think MK Dons have done really, really well. Max Waters and Mo Aisa coming in as attacking options. Waters, of course, coming in from Cardiff. He had a great spell with Crawley Town until he made the move to Wales in the Championship last season, but has been loaned out due to lack of game time. Aisa, even though he didn't have the greatest goal scoring record at Peterborough last year, is still a very solid League One scorer. They have lost key players in the transfer window. Obviously, Matthew Sorinola has gone to Belgium, and Scott Fraser has made the move to Ipswich Town. There's a lot of uncertainty now of MK Dons. Now that they've lost their manager, they need to get this appointment right, and if they don't get it right, then they could be in for another mid-table finish like they did last season. I'm going with them to finish outside the top 6. In 9th place, I have gone with Carl Robinson's Oxford United, the side that have finished in the playoffs the past 2 seasons, but this year, I just think they're going to end up falling short. I just don't think they've done enough. Josh Ruffles, their left-back, has completed a move to Huddersfield, and probably the biggest one, Rob Atkinson, who of course was in the PFA Team of the Year in League One last year, has completed a move to Bristol City. So they've got 2 massive holes to fill. They have since replaced them though, the left-back coming in being Steve Seddon from Birmingham, who I think is a very, very good player. I think he'll definitely offer them something. And the centre-back replacement for Atkinson is Jordan Forneley, coming in from Blackpool. He signed a lot of wide players. I mean, Nathan Holland has returned to the club on loan from West Ham. Gavin White has returned to the club on loan from Cardiff City. They've also brought in Ryan Williams from Portsmouth. He got 5 goals and 4 assists last year for Pompey. Could definitely be decent for them. Billy Bodin as well. James Henry's still there. Matty Taylor. I just think defensively they do look quite weak. And I think in the midfield as well, I think they do look a little bit light in areas. And for me, I think Oxford are just about going to miss out. These next 2 are massive, massive shouts. Coming in 8th place, I've gone with Portsmouth. I've gone with them to miss out on the top 6 once again, and I think they're going to finish in the same position that they did last year. Obviously, they are now under the management of the Cowley brothers, and I think that they will do a very good job for them, but I just think that in some areas of the pitch, in particular the midfield and in goal, they're weaker than last season. I think that they really are. If you look at the players they have ended up losing, Tom Naylor and Ben Close, who I've mentioned earlier, they're gone. Andy Cannon, Ryan Williams, regulars in their team last season are now gone. And of course, not to mention Craig McGillivray as well, their player of the year, has also left the club. In terms of the replacements they've brought in, Sean Williams has come in from Millwall, who certainly will offer some experience. But, I'm not entirely sold on him. Ryan Tunnicliffe as well, coming in from Luton as well. Going to be interesting to see how he gets on. McGillivray's replacement, Gavin Bazunu. Although he did get relegated with Rochdale, he is still a very young prodigy with a bright future ahead. So he certainly could do well. But I just do think it's a bit of a downgrade on McGillivray. And you look at the other players they've lost, Jack Watmow's gone as well. But they have replaced him with Clark Robertson, who I think is a very, very good League One defender. I just think Portsmouth, they've not done enough. I just don't think they have done enough. And I think it is going to be very close for them. I just think they're going to miss out. Coming in 7th, just missing out on the playoff places. Once again, I've gone with Sunderland, purely down to their lack of transfer activity. They've only signed 3 players, and you do have to raise question marks with a couple of them, it has to be said. Alex Pritchard, for a start, coming in from Huddersfield. He had an absolutely torrid time with the Terriers over the past few years. He's come to League One, obviously hoping to rejuvenate his form, but I'm not entirely sold on that one. Corey Evans, I think, will offer something for them in the middle of the pitch. I think he'll do well for them. And Callum Doyle, coming in from Man City, 17 years of age, coming in as a centre-back option. They've done very well to get Luke O'Nien and Aidan McGeady to sign new long-term contracts. I think their midfield is shot to bits, and I think that their attack, in particular in the striker position, is just very, very weak. I mean, Charlie White going to Wigan, I think, is a massive, massive loss. I know a lot of Sunderland fans have said that, the main reason why White was scoring so many goals was because of McGeady. He got 16 assists, McGeady, last season, as well as 4 goals. He obviously set up a lot of White's goals, but at the end of the day, that's 26 goals taken out of your squad. And if I'm being completely honest with you, I don't think the likes of Ross Stewart and Will Grigg are going to be able to level what White did. And they just don't have a strong enough squad for me. I don't think they've got a strong enough team, certainly not to compete for top 2. If they do get playoffs, they've got to consider themselves very, very lucky. I can't really justify putting them in the top 6, to be honest with you. And now we get into the top 6, starting off with the playoff spots. In 6th place, I've gone with Michael Appleton's Lincoln City. Now, the midfield 3 that they had, George Grant, Brennan Johnson and Morgan Rogers, that they had last season, that magical midfield 3, that was an absolute joy to watch. All of it is now gone. Obviously, Johnson and Rogers have returned to their respective parent clubs, Nottingham Forest and Manchester City, while George Grant has completed a permanent move to Peterborough. They've also lost Timothy Ayoma as well. He done really, really well. Actually done very well in terms of the players that they brought in to replace these guys. Starting off with Lewis Fiorini coming in from Man City, obviously fellow Man City player like Morgan Rogers. Lasse Sorensen coming in from Stoke, I think, is a cracking signing. I think they've done really, really well to bring him in. Hakeeb Adelakan, I think, is a great signing, coming in from Bristol City on a free. He done really, really well with Hull City at the opening stages of last season, done incredibly well, and I think Lincoln have got a very good player on their hands. And then Teddy Bishop as well brings a lot of experience and some decent midfield quality into the middle. He, of course, adds to the likes of Conor McGrandles, who done really well, Bridcut, who obviously offers some experience, Monsma as well in the defensive line, is a good player. And I think that Lincoln, although that a lot of people have written them off to finish outside the top 6, I'm going with them to replicate their playoff success. In 5th place, I have gone with the mighty Red Army from SE7, my club, Charlton Athletic. Although we haven't signed that many players, and I do think that we need more depth into this squad, I think the signings we have made have been very good, and they've been the right signings. You know, Jayden Stockley on a permanent, I think he's absolutely fantastic at this level, and he certainly will be racking up the goals this year. Craig McGillivray, arguably the best goalkeeper in the division. George Dobson and Sean Clare adding some midfield cover. Dobson in particular, I've been very, very impressed with. Sunderland fans were very quick to tell us that he's absolutely rubbish, but he's been one of our standout performers in pre-season. I think he has done very, very well. And then Akin Fanwell as well, coming back on loan, and of course we have an option to buy in that deal as well. Absolutely pivotal to a lot of our success in the defence last season, along with his partner Ryan Innes. That defensive duo is seriously going to be good this season over the course of a full season, provided that we can keep them fit. I do agree that we need more depth into that squad. I think we do need another left back to come in, obviously with Ben Purrington being injured. We could do with another midfield option, a bit more of an attacking option, though. We do have Magic Gomez on trial with the club, or should I say did, as we are apparently set to make a decision on Gomez as to whether he should join the club or not. We need to sign a winger as well, and I think we could definitely do with another option up front as well, because we still haven't replaced Chuks and Ike, and I'm not entirely convinced that any of our 4 strikers, really, Stockley, Washington, Davison and Ronnie Schwartz, can really be the next Lyle Taylor, which is effectively what we need if we want to get out of this division. I think Stockley could, if he can score regularly, but we've looked very decent in pre-season with the manager that we have in Nigel Adkins and the owner that we have in Thomas Sandgaard. I think we're going to be looking good this season. In 4th place, I have gone with newly relegated Sheffield Wednesday. They do still have some good players on their books that could definitely do a job at League One level. Callum Patterson, Josh Windass, if he is to stay, I suspect that he will receive a lot of interest late in the window. Andre Green, then you've got Massimo Luongo as well. Dominic Iorfa, Che Dunkley. Olamido Shadipo coming in on loan from QPR, I think is a great signing. He done so well for Oxford last season. 13 goals and 3 assists in all competitions. He will definitely offer offer them a lot of pace and a lot of trickery going forward. And Bailey Peacock-Farrell as a goalkeeping option from Burnley. Lewis Wing coming in from Middlesbrough on loan I think is a cracking signing. The fact that they've got him down to League One is just ridiculous, and he's certainly going to be a key player for them this year. With a manager like Moore, who done really, really well with Doncaster, as I say, at the start of last season before he made the move, and with some of the players that they do still have, I think they've got potential this season, and I think that they should be well within the top 600. And then coming in third place and just missing out on the top 2, I've gone with Wigan Athletic under Liam Richardson. He done an incredible job last year and steadied the ship and managed to keep them up. Their owner, although I did get a little bit of Tanu Nima vibes off of him at the start, has certainly come in clutch for them, and he has done very, very well. And I think that every single signing they've made in the transfer window has really, really impressed me. I mean, Jack Watmore and Tom Naylor coming in from Portsmouth. Jordan Cousins coming in from Stoke, I think, is a great signing for League One. I think he'll really do well this season. Max Power obviously returns to the club from Sunderland. Didn't have an amazing stint at Sunderland, but obviously coming back to Wigan, I think that they'll definitely manage to get the best out of him. Ben Amos obviously going there, coming in from Charlton. He got 16 clean sheets for us last season. Charlie Wyke is obviously going to be the main focal point of their attacks this season. 26 goals last season. That can't go unnoticed. Obviously, he's rich in form at the moment and certainly will offer them something. And I think that they could definitely push for that top 2 spots. But for me, I think they're just about going to miss out this year. And now we get on to the automatic promotion spots. Who have I predicted to win the League One title this year in 2021-22? Coming in second place, just missing out on the title, but making a return to the Championship at the first time of asking, is newly relegated Rotherham United. Even though they have lost some key players that I thought would be very good for them this season. Matt Crooks, obviously, he's the main one. He's gone to Middlesbrough. Matt Olasunde has gone to Preston, and also Clark Robertson, who I believe was actually released. I don't exactly know why, because he was, I think he'd be a very good League One option for them in the defensive line. He, of course, has gone to Portsmouth. Their only signing so far being Shane Ferguson coming in from Millwall. He will definitely offer some experience to their team, but I'm not entirely sure if he's going to be getting game time over the likes of Kieran Sadlier and Chidozie Ogbene, who certainly could definitely do a job at this level. Other players that can do a job at this level, Freddie Ladapo, I mean, he needs no introduction. He got 9 goals in the Championship last year, 14 in League One the season before. He's definitely a clinical scorer at this level. Rotherham still have a very, very good side, and realistically, they should be fighting for the top 2 spots, and I'm backing them to do it, man. And that, of course, does leave one more club to take the title for League One this season, and I have gone with Paul Cook's Ipswich Town to go all the way. Seriously, if Ipswich don't win the league this season with the squad that they have got, then they're done. They just need to give up at this point, because seriously, the players that they have got is just absolutely ridiculous. Everybody that you can name from Ipswich's team last season is pretty much gone, apart from a couple players. And I think that every single player that they have signed betters them in every way. Wes Burns from Fleetwood, he's an absolutely brilliant buy. He's obviously done very, very well for Fleetwood over the last few years. Raheem Harper on a permanent transfer from West Brom, I think is a quality signing. Obviously a very highly rated midfielder, and I definitely think could be one to look out for this year. Macaulay Bonne, even though Charlton fans laugh at the fact that we sold him for £2 million to QPR for him to go back to League One a season later on loan to Ipswich, regardless, he's going to have a good season for them. Pigott, 20 goals last season. Ridiculous signing. Fraser, pretty much the League One Kevin De Bruyne last year. He is definitely going to be a big player. George Edmondson was on loan at Derby last season. Was supposed to go on loan to another League One club, but Ipswich hijacked the deal and signed him on a permanent from Rangers. And then Connor Chaplin as well. And if they don't get promoted with this squad, then I'm done. I'm done with Ipswich at that point. They just need to give up, really, because seriously, their team is just ridiculous. So there you have it. There are my 2021-22 League One predictions. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, can you possibly leave a like, subscribe if you are new to the channel, and turn on those post notifications so you're notified of every time I post a new video. What do you guys think about my predictions? Let me know in the comments below. What are your predictions for the season? Please feel free to let me know. This has been Tyler Rolinton. Have a nice day, and I will see you all in the next video. Cannot wait for the start of the new season, man. I honestly cannot wait. Take it easy, stay safe, and I'll see you all later.